Good day and welcome to another episode of It's a Long Road, Rambo 3, Nothing is Over. Episode 1, I'm very excited because we're now covering Rambo 3. We're on to Rambo 3 of this journey that we're doing. I have with me a very special guest, Owen. Owen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to have you on. And Owen, the reason why I actually reached out to Owen personally and some of his co-hosts because I wasn't bored, but I was going on YouTube saying who else has covered the Rambo franchise. Now I've done a pretty thorough investigation of the Rambo films on this podcast. I was just curious who else has done anything like this. Nobody has done like the actual like multi-episode arcs for the films, but of course there's a lot of podcasts or YouTube channels that have done like one episode for the films. And I saw you guys did Rambo 3 and I was like, I wonder how these guys are going to cover Rambo 3. Are they going to crap all over it? Are they going to be... But I listened to the whole episode and I was enjoying your coverage because you guys were very like-minded and very like the same way I would cover a movie, very fair when and critical when appropriate of the film and all the good stuff. But it was just cool because it was a Rambo 3 coverage, and there was 4 of you on that. That was like, boy, it's perfect. I can grab one of you per episode of this of Rambo 3, and all 4 of you said yes. And Owen, you're the first one to do that of your show. So why don't you tell the audience what that show is?
Alrighty, well, it's a live stream called the Action Elite, and we call it the War Room. And I started the actionelite.com website about 15 years ago. And I think it was just whenever the first Expendables came out, or just before then. And I was like, why did people not make like old school action movies anymore? The genre was kind of dead. And then the Expendables came out and it kind of gave it a bit of a resurrection. The niche I'd found at the time, there weren't any other websites dedicated to like the old school action genre. So I created the Action Elite. And I've been doing that ever since. The other guys joined me to do live streams every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST. So that's basically what we do. It's just keeping the old school action alive.
That's awesome. Well, this show, you probably don't know this, but I'll let other people know, of course, if they're listening because you're here. But this show is actually part of a network, too. It's called the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network. So that's kind of funny how we're in that same type of universe of we're sort of...
named after that.
Well, close. That's right. There is that book. What's that one called again?
Just the Last Action Heroes. I'm reading this just now, so I'm nearly done.
Yeah, it's on my to-buy list one day. That's cool that you have that book. Yeah, I don't know where I got the name from. There is actually a podcast that's called that book title, I think, as well. But the idea was just that we were the last kind of sort of group, or it felt like we were the last age, maybe, that's covering these type of films as well. Yeah, you guys are doing the same thing on your end of the world, so we appreciate the ever-growing or ever holding on to of the action genre. It's a fun genre. It's different. Now, there's a lot of great action movies today, like Mission Impossible, the John Wick films, but it just feels different than the ones that we grew up with.
Oh, it does, yeah. I mean, I saw Ballerina last night, the new John Wick spin-off, and it was awesome, actually. I mean, a lot of people come in like, there's not much plot or whatever else, and I was like, yeah, but there's like 300 people get killed in it, and it's like constant action for 2 hours, so nice. I know it delivered everything I wanted, and I thought it was really good, and there's lots of John Wick in it, and, I thought it was just going to be like one scene, but anyways, actually, it's like, a John Wick movie, kind of, so.
Interesting. That's, well, they kind of didn't really, I knew it looked like he had a cameo maybe in it, but it's odd that they didn't really market it the way you're just saying right there.
Yeah. That's the thing, and there's an embargo on the reviews still, so I'm going to post mine probably tomorrow. I remember they said something a bit strange about try to keep everything positive or whatever. I remember there'd been this huge stramash I'd read about online. They hadn't sent anything to me, but it's like I think it's to the US critics or whatever. But I thought it was interesting that they're not wanting people to say anything. And I went in expecting it to be really bad, but no, I thought it was greght. It was exactly what I wanted it to be from a John Wick movie.
So it's not out yet officially? Is that why?
No, it's out on Thursday night, and then from Friday.
So you got an early screening?
Yes.
Wow, look at you!
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never had an early screening of nothing. I don't think. That's awesome. That's really cool. Okay, good. Well, by the time this comes out, the movie will be out. So you could almost just tell me how you feel right now. It wouldn't matter. Okay, well, it's cool. I'll link your website on this show notes so people can see where to find you. And let's get into the Rambo discussion. So, what is your overall feelings with Sly himself as a star action hero? What do you think of Sly?
Well, I've read lots of books on him as well, just to get an idea. Like that book right now, and I consider him an inspiration in the way that he was always seen as like an underdog. He's kind of like Rocky. I always saw that he was very much that character where everyone underestimated him, and then he would always kind of reinvent himself. So he would reinvent himself with with Rocky. Then things would be quiet. Then Rambo. And then you come back to like Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, and then the Expendables. Just anytime people would count him out, he would always come back. I think it's great that way. But it's between him and Arnold in terms of who are like the greatest action stars of all time. I almost say Stallone because he's like a director and writer as well, whereas Arnold is just in the movies. He did direct like a Christmas movie once, but Stallone has done a lot, and I think there is just a bit more filmmaking talent there. But I'm a huge Stallone fan, and it's really obviously the T-shirt says it all. I love what he did with the Rambo movies. I actually like all of them. People love to dump on certain entries for various reasons, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I really enjoy them. So
no apologies. No apologies needed on this show. I enjoy them all as well. It's like I was saying in the intro, I will critique where necessary, but it's never done like just to crap on something. Like I generally enjoy the films. They're action films. They're not supposed to change your life in that any meaningful way like that. It is a popcorn flick. I miss popcorn flicks. That's the whole point of them, is you're just there to enjoy the ride, enjoy the action, have some fun. There's one-liners, there's violence, there's action, explosions, squibs going off, and that's okay. There's a time and place for those movies. And then we can go watch more grander fare movies like the Dune films or whatever. That's fine. There's a place for old types of films, and I don't know why they have to be measured the way they are. It's weird. I don't know why film critics, there should be like genre of film critics. There should be people who are just action film critics, drama film critics.
Me. Yep, that's what I do.
Okay, we get what I'm saying, because if you're critiquing the film, and you're also critiquing, if you're critiquing a Rambo film that comes out, like let's say Last Blood, but you're also critiquing the Oscar winners or Oscar fair type films coming out the same week, they paint it with the same brush. They don't paint it within the category of which it's in.
Yeah, see, that's why I started the website, because I was like, why does everyone look down their noses at the action genre? Like, even now, you go into a shop, and horror movies are everywhere. There's horror T-shirts, horror merchandise, and everything else. There's never action stuff. We have, Sunrise Records.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, or like HMV. You go there for the most part, and they have like Halloween or Freddy Krueger T-shirts and things like that, or Exorcist, whatever. But good luck trying to find an action T-shirt. I only ever get them online. Occasionally, when I'm back in the UK, I got a Total Recall and a Terminator 2 T-shirt. But
nice.
Generally, the action genre is always sort of scoffed at by people, and I never understood that, because it's the most successful at the box office. It's the one that everybody goes to see. So why do people, look down their noses at it? It's always baffled me. That's why I started the website, was I wanted someone who actually champions action movies. So if we were saying on our live stream last week, watch our live stream because we actually celebrate movies for their violence and nudity rather than look down the nose at it. So
I love it. I love your style. That's awesome. I really do. Now you're wearing a Jean-Claude Van Damme hat. I just noticed that. And he's one of my favorite action stars growing up, of course. And we actually have a podcast on our network that covers the Van Damme films. So they're called Van Damme It is the name of their podcast. They do a great job covering the Van Damme films. They're now going into they sort of started with, the initial run was all the well-received type films. Their second run now is a little bit more of the not so well-received. I think the next one they're doing is Double Team with Dennis Rodman is their next episode. What's the story there with the hat?
The director of Van Damme's movie Pound of Flesh, Ernie Barbarash, messaged me and invited me to the premiere in LA a few years ago. I just was like 2 days beforehand, and I thought, I got some vacation days to take. I've never been to LA. I was like, sure, I'm in. So I went there, and then Jean-Claude Van Damme showed up. But there was such a crowd around him. I was there with my brother, and we're like, all right, we're going to try and get him. I said, I want to try and meet him and get a photo. He's right here. And Ernie came over and says, boy, says, you trying to get to Van Damme? And I said, yes. I said, hold on. He said, get through. He spoke to the security guards, parted the Red Sea, and got everyone out of the way and took us up. And I got to speak to Van Damme for about 15 minutes. We exchanged email addresses and things like that. And I told him that my brother had flown to Scotland to meet him and everything. And he said, Scotland? I said, my friends. He gave us a hug and like lifted us off the ground. He was just so delighted that we had like come to Scotland. He was awesome. People always say, never meet your heroes, but in this case I did, because Van Damme was like my childhood hero. Meeting him, he was everything I wanted him to be. He was just awesome. He was super friendly, just great with the fans, and just meeting him was awesome. So as I went to the website and ordered this hat straight after, and this is my uniform. Anytime you watch live streams or interviews I do with people, I always have this hat on. It's like my good luck charm.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a fantastic story. That's so cool. You got to meet him. That's what a treat. Yeah, of course, like you, I've watched him since Bloodsport. I've been a fan ever since. I had all the VHS tapes at the time, Bloodsport and Double Impact, and even Cyborg. I loved Cyborg when it first came out. I thought it was such a great film as a kid and a teenager. I've been following his career. Saw him in the theaters when they started popping up in the theaters. I had to go to the theaters to watch them. Hard Target, when John Woo directed him in Hard Target, I thought that was amazing. Other than that mullet, even back then, I was like, oh, come on, man, the mullet. Even when it was quote unquote in style, it didn't quite suit Van Damme, but that's okay. It helped with the slow motion kicks, I guess.
There, the little poster.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I see the poster. That's awesome. That's a great poster with his face in the arrowhead there. Yeah. So that's cool. Awesome. And awesome shirt with Rambo. Okay, so now regarding the Rambo franchise, of course, you've kind of mentioned it. Where do you hold the Rambo franchise in your echelon of films?
Rambo is my favorite action movie character. I've had a discussion with like friends before, like me and G-Man, we've both discussed this, where Rambo just means action. Anytime someone's making a joke in another movie or reference, like, who do you think you are, Rambo? Everyone knows who Rambo is. He just is action. So I think he is the greatest action movie character. I would say closely followed by John McClane. Rambo is just action personified, really.
I'm not trying to get your age per se, but do you recall which order you saw the films in? Because sometimes people will usually people of our age might have seen the second film first and they went back and saw first one. Did you see it in order?
I remember exactly the order. I went over to my buddy's flat in Glasgow and he had them all on video and we watched First Blood, then the second one, then did I see the third? I can't remember if I saw the third one in the cinema. I might have done, but I can't remember. And I'm 47, FYI. That's what age I am. So I was able to see them all. But I saw them all. And then ever since then, I saw like Rambo 2008 in the cinema and then Last Blood in the cinema as well. So
yeah, I saw the first two on VHS. I actually saw First Blood first. My parents, they were pretty good about renting videos when we were younger. And they rented Mad Max when I was a kid and Terminator, RoboCop. They're pretty easygoing about those films growing up, which I appreciate. I saw First Blood Part 2 not at the theater store. I saw that on VHS. However, my first Rambo film was Rambo 3 in the theater. My mom took my brother. If I had a younger brother, came out, I believe, in '88, if I remember correctly. So I was about 13 when it came out, and my younger brother was 11, and my older brother was 15. But I'll never forget. I might have mentioned this in the original run of our coverage, but when the big Russian bear soldier got the grenade wrapped around him, he got thrown down the hole.
Classic kill.
Yeah, classic kill. My mom sensed what was coming, so she made my 11-year-old brother cover his eyes. She knew that the explosion of the body was coming, but so it's funny. My poor brother had to close his. I think he did this, put his hands. It's a little bit too violent, sweetheart. I would always remember teasing them after, like, "Haha, you never got to see the body explode." But it's funny watching these films now. Like, I guess we're so desensitized to some degree. We're talking about John Wick and these other films because the violence in the Rambo films is so low key compared to what it's nothing. It's still nothing.
Yeah, until like Rambo 2008, and then from that on, The Last Blood, then it went crazy and sort of appealed more to like the modern ones. But you go back to any of these movies, a lot of them, they're kind of tame in comparison.
But the ones that aren't are RoboCop. That's still brutal. I still am uncomfortable with Murphy getting shot, his hand getting shot. That is one of the most violent. What's his name? The guy,
Clarence.
Clarence. Yeah,
Clarence Boddicker. Yeah,
Boddicker. That's right. Going me. Makes that sound with his mouth.
He's my favorite villain of the 80s, actually. Everyone says Hans Screamer, but I'm like, no, I love Clarence Boddicker because he terrified me as a kid when I watched him. He was such a scary villain.
He's a great villain. Yeah, that's a great film. Of course, the Robot, which we haven't really covered on the network of the RoboCop films, funny enough. Those films are still kind of violent, funny. I keep saying funny enough, but ironically. But the first three Rambo films are quite quaint. And that was actually, ironically, my biggest criticism of the fourth Rambo film. I want to hear your thoughts as you're you're so strong in these films, and I would actually want to hear your opinion. So I've already said it on my show many times, but I have to say it to you so you understand what I'm talking about. The fourth Rambo film, as much as it's applauded and celebrated for its kind of return to violence, we all love the meat grinder scene when he turns the 50 cal on the guy in the driver's seat. We love it; it's great, and we love the sequence of him taking out the the army with the 50 cal. It's a great sequence of events. But my problem with this film is it felt like they cut out 20 minutes. It ended too fast. That sequence should not have been the finale. It should have been, okay, that's a great action sequence. The same way, like The Matrix Part 2 when they had the highway scene. You know what I mean? That's a fun, great scene. But that shouldn't have been the end of the film, and it wasn't. Like this should have been like a really cool sequence, and then he should have done the final mission, which would have been an infiltration mission of the camp, and sort of hand to hand, kind of how he ended Rambo Part 5. That's how he ended it. That's how they should have ended Part 4. I don't know. I felt like that's it. He's just going to take them out with the 50 cal. It felt like a bit of a cop out. I'm not going to lie. That Sly and or the Rambo character didn't do anything other than fire a weapon from a hilltop. What's your thoughts on that? The sequence was great, but do you think it ended good?
Yeah, it's never really bothered me. I liked the very final scene whenever he comes back to the farm. He comes home. He's come full circle.
That could have been the final scene still.
That would have been great. But yeah, I always thought, and I find this with the Rambo films in general, is that apart from Brian Dennehy in the first movie, the villains generally aren't that like hugely memorable. Like this one particularly, I couldn't even tell you the main villain's name. You're just like, he's the evil soldier guy, whatever. He's a total like non-entity of a character. I thought that the villains, just could have been a bit better written. Brian Dennehy was the best character, but even from the book, like I've read the book of First Blood, and you sort of find out why he dislikes him so much in the first movie, because he was like a Korean War vet, and he didn't like the way they were treated compared to the Vietnam vets and all that. The fourth movie, I think, there were no like memorable characters in terms of villains. So yeah, I think that if the villains had been better written out, I thought it was going more for shock value in terms of violence rather than anything else. You're seeing like kids being thrown in the fire and women being assaulted and things like that, and you're just like, wow, I wasn't expecting this in a Rambo movie. But it was quite a different tone from the other ones too. It's like much like more serious and everything else. But yeah, now that you've mentioned it, you've planted it in my head, and now I'm thinking of it, and I'm like, you know what, I don't disagree. I like my action movies to have a one-on-one fight at the end between the hero and the villain. And whenever they don't, I'm sort of like, oh, that's it.
That. Even when I saw the original run, I was in the theater and I was like, oh, we're done. I mean, I liked what I saw, but that's it. 80 minutes where we don't have 15 minutes to kill to have him. He gutted the guy, but he just kind of like lumbered after him and got him behind a tree. Like, come on.
And I CG blood as well.
So I feel like Rambo 5 rectified that. And it's odd that it was such a criticized film, even amongst the fandom, where I'm like, I gotta admit, other than Rambo having short hair, I think it's a pretty fun film. The under the tunnels, the traps, that's classic. People forget that's Rambo. That's actually First Blood done again with the traps, but now he gets to use the traps to kill people instead of maim them. I think they kind of made Rambo 5 end the way they should have. If you could meld the two films, you would almost have a perfect film.
Oh yeah, I find this so much with movies. So I watch them like, that was awesome, and then everyone's like, that movie sucked, and I'm like, what? Why? Because I enjoyed it. I was like, I mean, this one was like really gritty. I get what people mean, where but when it doesn't have the mullet and the bandana anymore, then people don't think it's Rambo or whatever. But I was like, well, he's an old man, and that it's a hairstyle wouldn't suit him at that age.
No.
There's that, but. Like the action, and it was amazing. It had like real explosions. It wasn't like CG, and the tunnel scenes were like pure. Yeah, going back to Nam and all that. And I thought, I thought that was great. You hated the villains. They were really nasty.
Yeah, they were good villains. You're talking about villains. They were actually fleshed out good villains in that one.
Yeah, I think the thing was, which people thought, and I would agree with this, is that the story was generic. Was that it's human traffickers again? It's Taken meets Home Alone kind of thing. And I was like, I get that, but which is valid. But I don't know. I thought it was great, and I thought it was a fitting end. I particularly like the extended edition as well. We've got that opening 10 scenes, and then the little post-credit scene where you see him get on the horse and ride off again, so he doesn't actually die. Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Well, how about this for hairstyle? I think I agree with the long hair. It might look silly for a 65 or whatever 70-year-old Rambo. How about a beard? He should have short hair with a beard. That would have worked.
I would have liked that. Yeah, I mean, look at how my beard looks. So.
Yeah, you look sharp with the beard, and I can't grow one, but we know Sly can. I don't know why he didn't grow it, because if he did like a Grizzly Adams type beard, where it's almost like his hair could be a little bit matty, not long, but just kind of a little bit unkempt with a beard, it would indicate that he's sort of like that cowboy outlaw Josie Wales or
ruggedness.
The ruggedness look to him, and I think that would, especially because he's in the woods, or sorry, he's in the farmland, he would look so cool. And I think aesthetics is actually important. It's like having Batman without a Batman costume. Like, I understand it might look silly for an older Rambo to have a headband and stuff, I agree, but you still give him some sort of look, because he's not just Sly. He just looked like Sly, and that's kind of the problem. Is he looked great for his age, and he was great doing the action sequences, but he didn't have a character look to him, and so that didn't help people get invested into the film for a Rambo film, other than him being named and I heard criticisms which aren't that far off, where if you just renamed the character like John Charles, people would be like, okay, cool, it's a human trafficking story.
Yeah, it's just an action movie rather than a Rambo movie as well.
Yeah. So aesthetics, my friend, aesthetics, Mr. Sly. Okay, here we go. Great. That's it. That's how that's done. We've got the geeking of the Rambo out of the way. Rambo 3, of course, if you haven't already, dear listeners, check out my full coverage of the film. I did like, I think 10 to 15 episodes of coverage on that film. Here we go with the questions. I'm telling you right now, Owen, that I'll be surprised if I get any of these right, other than the first question, because like you'll see, some of my guests have literally, one guest watched the film 6 times before coming on. He wanted to be so prepared. I haven't seen this film since I covered the film, I guess a year or so ago. I haven't gone back to, I've watched it since 88 to now. I don't know how many times, but okay. So here we go with the first question. You ready? This one you should get. True or false? George P. Cosmatos directed Rambo 3. Okay. Number 2, how long does Rambo say it will take to walk from Arizona to Afghanistan? Oh, yeah. I remember the scene. He was talking to the boy. I think he was talking to the boy. The boy asked him, where are you from? And he said, Arizona. He goes, how far is that? And then Rambo says, a time. That's how long it would take him to walk. Now, the rule of this, if his time or measurements, is whoever's closest. You can go over, you can go under, doesn't matter. So just guess. Let's say you say it's 1 hour and it happens to be 5 hours. Whoever's closest wins. I don't know the exact time, but I remember the scene. I remember him talking to the boy. Okay. Mm-hmm. According to Musa, how old is the national sport of Afghanistan?
Man, I obviously never paid attention watching this movie.
No, don't feel bad. Look, I don't remember either. Again, just guess. Obviously, it's more than 5 years. I'm going to guess something. Okay. No. Okay. Number 4. What is the name of the young kid who helps Rambo in Afghanistan? See, now that I'm doing this, I might have to rewatch the film just once for the next 3 sets of questions. But that's okay. What was the name of the young kid? What is his name? Charlie? Steve? Let's say whoever has the most letters in his name wins. I'm just going to be interested to see what you put for a name. Number 5. How does Rambo save Hamid from the soldier that is approaching behind him?
Man, I really should have watched this last night.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So Hamid must be the guy with the beard that was kind of Rambo's guide when he's yeah. According to Rambo, okay. All right, we'll both get this one. What does the blue light do? Okay,
that one I know.
Whew, we're gonna get one.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's literally my favorite line of the movies.
Yeah. Where is the only region of Afghanistan that doesn't have the Stinger missiles, and why don't they have access to them?
Jesus.
Okay, well, where is the only region of Afghanistan that doesn't have the Stinger missiles, and why don't they have? Well, that's Rocco. Why are you going so hard on these on Rambo 3? Oh boy, I don't know. I'm gonna say no idea.
Yeah, same here. I was like, it's not even in the movie.
I'm actually just trying to understand the question too. I'm trying to understand, so he's saying there's a region that doesn't have the Stinger missiles. How many horsemen are waiting at the border, and what are they waiting for? Boy, oh boy. Okay, you can guess the horseman number. Just guess. I'm going to say a number, and then whoever's closest wins. So we'll still get points because whoever closest can still win points. And what are they waiting for? I don't remember that answer. What does Troutman say Rambo really is while he tries to convince him to go to Afghanistan? Oh, Rambo is really something. Like, he doesn't say this, but Rambo, you're chicken. So he says something that Rambo is something. I don't remember. I got sort of a context. Okay. Last question, then the suffering will end, I promise. Why does Musa want Rambo to stay in Afghanistan? That's not the right answer, but I'm going to say it. Okay. All right. Painful. This might be my worst showing yet, but let's do it.
Yeah, that's well, the action elite know the action average, I think, tonight. Well,
that's okay. Well, your friends that guest with you or co-host with you on your podcast, they're going to hear your showing here, and they're going to probably watch the film now. They're going to be like, "Oh, I better watch the film before."
Oh yeah, they got to know their stuff because I do not.
Okay, well that's okay. Well, the first one you should get: true or false? George P. Cosmatos directed Rambo 3.
False.
Yeah, you remember who?
Rambo 2. Yeah,
that's right.
I can't remember the guy's name.
Peter McDonald.
Peter McDonald. Yeah,
that's right. So look, we're 1 for 1. So that's good. Yeah. George P. Cosmatos. Do you remember what famous film he directed as well?
Cobra, Tombstone.
Look at you. Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Rambo 2.
That's right. He actually died in my home city of Victoria.
Oh, really?
That's where he passed away, was Victoria. Yeah, he died and retired in Victoria, British Columbia, which is odd. I've always found that weird that he died in Victoria.
Yeah.
We always talk about this, that George, he directed, quote unquote, directed Tombstone, which we know was directed by Kurt Russell. Really. Yeah. And then same with this, like, do you really think he directed Sly? Like, I feel like
nobody directs Sly.
Nobody directs Sly. That's right. I feel like sometimes these directors, like the Peter McDonalds, the George B. Cosmatos. In fact, Peter McDonald was hired after someone else got fired. I forget who it was, but somebody else got fired before Peter because he clashed with Sly.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because everyone clashed with Sly.
Yeah. Well, you don't direct Sly. Yeah.
No.
How long does Rambo say it will take to walk from Arizona to Afghanistan?
I said like 4 days.
Okay. Well, I think I got the point. The answer of the book is 2 years.
What is your name?
Rambo.
Where are you from?
Arizona.
Arizona? How much days walk?
Oh, about 2 years.
I remember the context being a ridiculous amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I said 1 year.
Yeah. 4 days.
4 days. That's all right. But I think I actually went and asked or tried to Google how long would it take to walk that distance. And it was pretty, I think a year might have been even a little bit too long. Oh, okay. According to Musa, how old is the national sport of Afghanistan? So what did you put for?
I've said 100 years.
Okay. I think I got this one again. I said 2,000 years. The answer is 3,000 years.
Look there. It's a national sport. Old, insane game. Maybe 3,000 years old.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Look at me. 3 for 3.
You're the real action elite here, not me.
Oh, no. Well, this is where we can both either win or, like, this is just a matter of getting closer. That's all. But
I will lose because, like, I don't know any of these.
Okay. It's funny. The kid's name was actually mentioned in one of our questions. I just realized that.
I did remember, yeah.
So, did you remember his name?
Hamid.
Oh, you remembered it. Look at you. I said, you know what I said for a name? I said Quinn. I couldn't remember. It says the kid's name was Quinn, so that's not
a very Afghani sounding name.
No, I don't think it's very Afghani sounding. Hey, Quinn, want to come over here? You actually got Hamid. Good job.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Okay, this is going to have to go to the judges. What did you answer, though? How does Rambo save Hamid? Look, that's funny. This next right there. Save Hamid from the soldier that is approaching behind him.
Just throw a knife on him?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said through a knife as well. If you want to win the point, I'll give it to you because I didn't say where in the body, but if you say where in the body, I'll give you the point.
Throw?
Yeah. Good job. Look at you. Yeah. The answer actually is he throws his knife into his neck. So you guessed it correctly. So I'm actually going to give myself a no because I just wrote knife in the back. So that doesn't really count. So, but you actually said the neck. So you got it right. Exactly. Okay. Look at that. According to Rambo, what? Oh, yeah. Turns blue. Turns blue.
Turns blue.
What does this for?
It's a blue light.
What does it do?
Turns blue.
Yeah.
I always found that kind of funny. We analyzed the scene, of course, now in like the 2020s when we covered it. I don't suspect that the Afghanistans were that unaware of glow sticks even back then. Like the idea that he wouldn't know, but it's just to sort of showcase like how advanced America is with their.
Well, that was the 80s and everything when it was America superior overall.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny now watching. Like, really, the guy didn't know what a chem light does or a glow stick. Okay. Where is the only region of Afghanistan that doesn't have the Stinger missiles, and why don't they have access to them?
I don't know. I literally have no idea for that.
Yeah, I wrote down no idea as well. But I would say whatever's controlled by the Russians. So his answer was 50 miles over the border. Okay.
Oh, I said the border. So yeah.
You did say the border?
Yeah.
Okay.
But after 9 years of fighting, the Afghan forces are now getting shipments of Stinger missiles and are beginning to hold their own against airstrikes. Except for one region, 50 miles over the border. Apparently the Soviet commander there is exceptionally brutal.
That's pretty good. That's closest to the answer. They don't have access to them because the Soviet commander there is really brutal. Well, I'm going to give you the point. The fact that you said they're on the border or like near the border, that's key. So I actually wrote no idea. So you're doing good. How many horsemen were waiting at the border? And what are they waiting for? So what's your number of horsemen? Holy smokes, I'm off.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I said like 4 because I was just thinking the 4 horsemen.
Oh my God. It's so funny. I still get the point. I said 50, but the answer was 10,000.
These are Mujahideen horsemen. There are 10,000 horsemen more waiting at the border. They are waiting to get weapons. When they'll get it, they come back here to fight.
If you literally just said 100, you would.
I watched the movie like a year or 2 ago. It's been a while.
We're both way off. That's hilarious. It's 10,000, and they're waiting for weapons to fight with. I totally forget that scene. That is funny.
Yeah. I need to watch this movie again.
So I get the point for being closest. There's that, I guess.
Yeah.
What does Troutman say Rambo really is while he tries to convince him, Rambo, to go to Afghanistan?
Isn't it you're a soldier? You're a full-blooded soldier or something like that. Yeah.
Perfect.
You may try, but you can't get away from what you really are.
What do you think I am?
A full-blooded combat soldier.
Yeah, a full-blooded combat soldier.
Full-blooded combat soldier. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. I wrote, he's not happy here. I knew it was in the context of that. That's why, but I'm not going to give myself the point. But I knew the context was you're not really at peace here. We talked about that scene, how we thought it was kind of rude of Troutman to almost, not rude, but almost not evil either. Because I remember talking to my co-host about that scene. It was near the beginning of the film, of course, because we're basically saying that Troutman was trying to open up the pain in Rambo again to get him to, because he was at peace.
Yeah, he was manipulating him, really. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, no, you're not at peace. You're really an animal. You're really a warrior. It's like, dude, the guy's actually like working on his PTSD and you're trying to like trigger him again to make him into a warrior. And watching that didn't seem true to character for Troutman, but I guess he's just literally acting like a soldier.
I remember Steven said that he didn't love Rambo 3. That was kind of the reason he didn't love it, is that he felt like this wasn't Rambo's story. It wasn't about Rambo. It was sort of him going to rescue the guy, but the story, it wasn't a threat against him.
That's good. That's fair.
Interesting. Yeah. That's
fair. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I remember him talking about that. That's fair. Mm-hmm. He's still not invited on the show. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Steve.
Well, I felt bad. There was 5 of you guys, but 4 of you liked Rambo 3. The one guy didn't. Like, well, I want to pick the 4 that at least liked the film.
Yeah.
Okay.
He still liked it. He just didn't, love it as much as we did.
Yeah, he was the least liked it the least. We'll give him that.
Yeah, we'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. Why does Musa? Oh, see, that's funny. I didn't even catch on. Hamid Musa. Okay. Why does Musa want Rambo to stay in Afghanistan? See, I thought Musa was the kid's name, but it's Hamid. Because I wrote to be his dad. So that's not right. What was your answer?
To find peace.
No, I guess it's a funny line, if that helps. It was more of a comedic line.
I can't remember.
Nope. He says he fights good for a tourist.
You sure you don't want to stay? You fight good for a tourist.
I don't even remember that line.
Yeah, I think there was a joke about him being a tourist or something. So he goes, well, you should stay because you fight good for a tourist.
That's right. Yeah. I should have watched this more recently than I did.
Oh, that's fine. Tell me your point, Telly. I'm supposed to keep track of the score.
Oh, shit. I didn't get track of the score. Wait.
Okay.
I got 4. Did I get 4?
Yeah, that sounds right. I got 5. Actually, I didn't do as bad as I thought I was going to get 0 or 2.
In fact, I got any at all because those some really kudos to come up with those questions because I had no idea. You snookered me there. I was like, what? I don't remember that.
Yeah, so Rocco, he's 14 years old and he lives in Ontario. I don't know the exact place. I forget. I think he lives in the school that he goes to is St. Joseph's Catholic High School, according to his bio here. I know the name Scarborough. I think it's Scarborough.
Oh, Scarborough. Oh, yeah. That's 20 minutes away or about 30 minutes away from me. So I'm in Mississauga. Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Rocco. As always, it's a true pleasure to do your book. And folks, if you want to buy his trivia book, it is available on Amazon. Support Rocco. I always like to support the young kids doing this kind of stuff. We're talking about us old guys, right? Owen?
Yeah. Can you send me the link to this? Yeah, I'm going to do a post on that on the site and I'll pimp it out and get people to buy it because I want to copy myself. So
that's awesome. Oh man, Rocco would love that. That's very kind of you. Hear that, Rocco? There you go. Yeah, I'll send you the link to.
Yeah, awesome. I'll post that tomorrow. Yeah.
And he also does a Rambo book as well. The Rocky book as well. The same thing. That's what's behind me over there. Is the
send me the links for all of them. I'm always happy to help out people who are supporters of the genre.
That's awesome. Very kind of you. All right. I hope you had fun on this, Owen. Regarding,
I'm not disappointed in myself.
Don't be disappointed. I always tell the guests when they come on, the idea of the trivia is not to make anyone feel bad about what they do or don't know. It's more just a chance just to talk about the films again and just to kind of geek out a little bit and revisit the films in their head. This one didn't provide a lot of different talking points. I'm just trying to look before we close up here. What
about ranking the movies? Have you done
that? Regarding the Rambo films, like where do I rank them? Well, I'd be more curious of where you rank them. How do you rank them?
I think First Blood is the best film in the franchise, but my favorite one is Part 2. I love Part 2 because it's basically the creation of action hero Rambo, which is what everybody seems to hate. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I love that about it because the second one was like the fun movie. The first one is quite a very serious movie. I hadn't watched it for a while and forgot just how good it actually is. First Blood is a fantastic movie. It's really good, but I don't think Part 2 is the better movie, but it's the one I watch more. So that's my number 1. So I would say Part 2, then Part 1, then 3, 4, 5, I would say. Yeah,
that's usually what it is. It almost seems like it's either 1, 2, like the fact my last guest or one of my second 2 guests ago, he actually said it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like in that order. It's just that's his order of enjoyment. And the first 3 films are really cool. It's almost mirrors the Rocky films to some degree. Like the first 4 Rocky films are almost a great just box set. And 5 seems like a bit of a misstep, of course. We talk about that. And then 6 is sort of like, okay, let's kind of get back to what we were. Whereas that's how I feel about the first 3 Rambo films. They're a nice little tight trilogy. The 4th one kind of says the same thing that the 6th Rocky film says. We got to bring it back and to what Part 2 was, but make it more violent. And Part 5 was kind of like the Rocky 5 to some degree. Like it was a misstep, but it happened last. This is just what the general people say. But I will say, see, people are going to get mad at me, and I've already mentioned this, but I'll just say it again. I think I like, oh boy, this is tough. I find that objectively, I think 5 is a better film than 4. I think it's a better production. I think it looks better than Part 4.
Yeah. Better action. There's less CG because like a CG blood, and the 4th one's really distracting where you can tell it just looks pretend.
It's hard because I know 4 was I understand the 4 was so celebrated for like, yeah, we're violent Rambo again. Yeah, we're not the cheesy blah blah blah. He's a brood, he's a monster, he's a creature in the dark again. Yeah. I get it. But I didn't leave 5. 5 actually has a proper ending too. That's the thing. 5 ends properly. So I guess objectively, I think it's a better film. Like it has a proper plot. The bad guys are better fleshed out. He loses somebody again, kind of like Ko in the second film. So he kind of loses somebody close to him. He has that revenge factor, which we love. I don't know why 5 is so maligned, to be honest with you. I don't know why more people don't like it more, if not more than 4. I think 4 has a lot to have fun with, but it doesn't feel, there's something about it that's almost too gritty, and I would say crude is right. Yeah. There's a lot of heavy cursing by some of the side characters. I'm not against cursing, but it just seems like cursing for cursing's sake. I felt like we have to make a rated R film. So it's like the one character, the British guy, who just swears like, okay, calm down.
We do all the time. The fact I've made it through this without swearing at all has been a miracle in itself.
Well, I watched Peaky Blinders and all these shows. Like it just felt out of character a little bit with the Rambo franchise. Like it felt like
there's no swearing in the other ones really. There's like one or two, and that's it. But yeah, they didn't used to in the old ones for sure.
That's what I mean. It just felt like we were really showing you this is a hard R, and I think that was the goal. And mission succeeded. Some fans really loved it. Yeah, it's just a hardcore. It was a hard R, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like again, 5 was right in the middle. It was brutally violent. The heart ripping scene was brutally violent, which is the Rambo I love. I think there was some cursing, but it didn't feel like, again, over the top. It felt properly with the film and the characters. I guess the more I think about it, that's my long way of saying, I think objectively, I think 5 is a better film than 4.
Interesting. Yeah. I think people just don't like it because it's like a human trafficking story, which has been the plot of so many action movies over the past few years, and it's sort of, it's a tired storyline. But I thought the execution was well done. The tunnel scene was a great throwback where it just shows how he could never let go of it. Really, he never left the tunnels of Vietnam really mentally in his head, and he's just will always be that. I like that aspect. I like all of them. If someone said, do you want to watch a Rambo movie? I'd be like, yeah, sure, we'll watch it. If someone says, let's watch your favorite Rambo movie, it'll be part 2 every time. I'll put that on. If I want a fun time, I just put on the second one, or one-man army. You're just cheering along with it. Whereas if you want more serious, character drama, you watch First Blood, the first one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Owen, for coming on again. I'll link your site on our show notes, so folks check out the link in the show notes of where to find Owen and his wonderful flag carrying of the action films. And I hope I get your other co-hosts on after this episode. Hopefully we didn't scare them away.
I'll shout at them later and make sure they respond. Don't worry.
Okay, good. All right. Well, Owen, it's been an absolute pleasure, but unfortunately this episode is over.
Nothing is over. Just turn it off.